What if I told you that spinach contains compounds that can measurably improve blood vessel function within just a few hours of eating it, and that this effect has been documented in controlled human studies published in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and indexed on PubMed? Not folklore. Not cartoon exaggeration. Real physiology. For decades, spinach has been reduced to a pop culture symbol of exaggerated strength. But behind the humor is something far more interesting. Spinach is one of the most biochemically dense leafy greens ever analyzed. Researchers publishing in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry have mapped its phytonutrient profile in remarkable detail. Clinical nutrition scientists have tested its nitrate content for cardiovascular benefits. Ophthalmology researchers have studied its carotenoids for protecting vision as we age. Today, we are going to move past the myths and examine what the science actually says. Because spinach deserves serious attention. Let's begin with why this humble leaf is so nutritionally exceptional. Spinach, scientifically known as Spinacia oleracea, is part of the Amaranthaceae family. It originated in Persia and gradually spread through Europe and Asia before becoming a global staple. Historically, it was valued in traditional cuisines not just for flavor but for perceived vitality-enhancing properties. Modern nutritional biochemistry now explains why. 1 cup of raw spinach may look unimpressive in volume. But inside that handful is a concentration of micronutrients that rivals many supplements. First, vitamin K1. Spinach is one of the richest dietary sources available. Vitamin K1 is essential for activating proteins involved in blood clotting and bone metabolism. Without it, osteocalcin, a protein that binds calcium into bone tissue, remains inactive. We will return to this when we discuss bone health. Then there are the vitamin A precursors. Spinach is packed with beta-carotene, a carotenoid that your body converts into retinol as needed. This supports immune function, epithelial integrity, and visual health. Folate is another standout. Folate plays a central role in DNA synthesis and methylation pathways. Inadequate folate intake elevates homocysteine levels, a risk factor for cardiovascular and cognitive decline. Magnesium. Spinach contains meaningful amounts. Magnesium acts as a cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including energy production and muscle function. Iron? Yes, but here we need context. Spinach contains non-heme iron. Unlike heme iron from animal sources, non-heme iron has lower bioavailability. Its absorption can be influenced by other dietary components. Vitamin C enhances it. Phytates and certain polyphenol can inhibit it. So while spinach contributes to iron intake, it should not be viewed as a standalone solution for iron deficiency. And then we reach the phytonutrients. Lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids found in high concentrations in spinach, accumulate in the retina. They form part of what is called macular pigment. These compounds filter harmful blue light and reduce oxidative stress in ocular tissue. Beyond carotenoids, spinach contains flavonoids such as camphorol and quercetin glycosides. These molecules have demonstrated anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties in cellular and human models. But perhaps the most discussed compound in recent years is something much simpler, dietary nitrate. And this is where the story becomes fascinating. Let's talk about cardiovascular health. For many years, nitrates had a negative reputation because of processed meats. But naturally occurring nitrates in vegetables behave very differently in the body. When you eat nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach, oral bacteria convert nitrate into nitrite. Then, under certain physiological conditions, nitrite can be converted into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a powerful signaling molecule. It relaxes blood vessels. It improves endothelial function. It enhances blood flow. In randomized controlled trials published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, nitrate-rich vegetable consumption has been shown to lower blood pressure and improve vascular function. Think of nitric oxide as a message sent to your arteries that says, relax. Open up. Allow blood to flow more efficiently. Improved endothelial function reduces strain on the heart. Over time, this may contribute to lower cardiovascular risk. And here is something even more interesting for athletes. Several performance studies indexed on PubMed have demonstrated that consuming nitrate-rich foods 2 to 3 hours before exercise can improve exercise efficiency. The body uses oxygen more effectively. Some participants experience improved endurance. Imagine preparing for a workout, and instead of relying solely on stimulants, you strategically consume a spinach-rich meal earlier in the day. That is not marketing. That is biochemistry. Now let's shift to bone health. Vitamin K1 in spinach plays a critical role in activating osteocalcin. Osteocalcin binds calcium into bone tissue. Without sufficient vitamin K, this process is less efficient. Observational data and mechanistic studies suggest that higher vitamin K intake is associated with improved bone mineral density. Combine that with magnesium and calcium synergy, and spinach becomes part of a broader bone-supportive dietary pattern. Think about aging. Preserving bone density means maintaining independence. It means reducing fracture risk. It means continuing to move confidently into later decades of life. And that brings us to vision. Lutein and zeaxanthin are concentrated in the macula of the eye. They act almost like internal sunglasses, filtering high-energy blue light. Clinical trials have shown that increasing intake of these carotenoids can enhance macular pigment optical density. Higher macular pigment is associated with better visual performance and may reduce risk of age-related macular degeneration. In a world dominated by screens, phones, tablets, computers, protecting retinal tissue becomes more relevant than ever. Spinach quietly supplies those protective pigments. Let's talk about inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is linked to cardiovascular disease, metabolic disorders, and cognitive decline. Randomized controlled trials examining leafy green intake have demonstrated reductions in inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein. While spinach is rarely isolated alone in these trials, its flavonoids and carotenoids contribute to the anti-inflammatory effect observed in high leafy green dietary patterns. Camphorol, for example, has been studied for its modulation of inflammatory signaling pathways. Again, not magic. Molecular signaling. Now, cognition. The Rush University Memory and Aging Project observed that individuals who consumed approximately 1 serving of leafy greens daily experienced slower cognitive decline compared to those who rarely consumed them. Why might this happen? Folate helps regulate homocysteine. Elevated homocysteine is associated with cognitive impairment. Spinach provides folate. It also provides vitamin K and lutein, both of which have been investigated for potential roles in brain health. Picture this. Daily dietary choices accumulating quietly over decades, preserving clarity, memory, and independence. Small habits. Large outcomes. But how you prepare spinach matters. Raw spinach contains delicate nutrients like vitamin C and folate that are sensitive to heat. However, cooking, especially light steaming, can increase the bioavailability of carotenoids such as beta-carotene and lutein. Heat softens plant cell walls. Carotenoids become more accessible. Light steaming strikes a balance. It preserves most water-soluble nutrients while enhancing carotenoid absorption. And here is something crucial: fat improves absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Pair spinach with olive oil. Add avocado. Include nuts or seeds. These healthy fats enhance the uptake of vitamins A and K. It is not just what you eat. It is what you eat it with. For athletes targeting nitrate benefits, consume spinach 2 to 3 hours before exercise. That timing aligns with peak nitric oxide production. As for quantity, 1 to 2 cups of raw spinach daily, or half to 1 cup cooked, fits comfortably within dietary guidelines for Americans' vegetable recommendations. Not extreme. Not overwhelming. Just consistent. Now we must address safety responsibly. Spinach contains oxalates. For individuals prone to calcium oxalate kidney stones, high oxalate intake can be a concern. Boiling spinach and discarding the water can reduce soluble oxalates by up to 40%. Pairing spinach with calcium-containing foods may also reduce oxalate absorption. If you are on warfarin, an anticoagulant, vitamin K intake must remain consistent. Not eliminated. Consistency is key. Sudden large fluctuations can interfere with medication effectiveness. Always coordinate dietary patterns with your healthcare provider. Rarely, spinach may trigger Ig-mediated allergic reactions or histamine intolerance in sensitive individuals. These cases are uncommon but documented. And infants under 6 months should not consume improperly stored cooked spinach due to nitrate concentration risks. For the general population, however, the benefits overwhelmingly outweigh the risks when spinach is handled properly. Wash thoroughly. Store refrigerated. Consume fresh. Simple steps. Now let me ask you something. If one inexpensive leafy green can support vascular health, bone strength, eye protection, anti-inflammatory balance, and possibly cognitive resilience, why would we overlook it? Health is rarely built from dramatic interventions. It is built from daily repetition. A handful in your smoothie. A base for your salad instead of iceberg lettuce. Lightly sautéed with garlic and olive oil. These choices compound over time. They translate into energy to play with grandchildren. Strength to move confidently. Vision clear enough to read without strain. Mental sharpness preserved longer than expected. This is not about spinach as a miracle food. It is about spinach as a strategic ally. So here is your simple, manageable action step. Tomorrow morning, add 1 handful of fresh spinach to your smoothie. You will not taste it strongly, but your body will register it. Or replace your usual lettuce with spinach at your next meal. Start there. Small. Intentional. Consistent. If you learned something valuable today, take a moment to click the like button. It helps more people discover evidence-based nutrition content. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss future deep dives into functional foods that quietly transform health from the inside out. And share this video with one person in your life who still thinks spinach is just a cartoon prop. Because ordinary foods, chosen and prepared with scientific intention, can deliver extraordinary long-term dividends. Your body is listening to what you feed it, every single day. Make it count.